don't get too behind.
Okay.
And then just now this is the purport versus the verse, and then today verse.
Okay.
We read 16 yesterday. We read only one. You don't get too behind.
Okay.
And the other day, okay, so here now I can share the screen. Share the screen. Okay, we start there, and then I show you the next one.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Nara Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. All right. Canto 1, Chapter 5, Text 16. Vichaksanosyarhati veditum vibur ananta parasya nirittita sukham pravartamanasya gunair atmatmas manas tato bhavan darsaya chetitam vibo. Translation: The Supreme Lord is unlimited. Only a very expert personality retired from the activities of material happiness deserves to understand this knowledge of spiritual values. Therefore, those who are not so well situated due to material attachment should be shown the ways of transcendental realization by your goodness through the descriptions of the transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord. Purport.
We read this yesterday, so we're going to read the next.
Okay. So we don't have to read the purport, or you want to read the purport?
No, I was thinking the next one.
Okay.
I tell you what happened yesterday.
Okay. This is number 17. One who has forsaken his material occupations to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage, yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything. Purport. As far as the duties of mankind are concerned, there are innumerable duties. Every man is duty-bound not only to his parents, family members, society, country, humanity, other living beings, the demigods, etc., but also to the great philosophers, poets, scientists, etc. It is enjoined in the scriptures that one can relish all such duties and surrender unto the service of the Lord. So if one does so and becomes successful in the discharge of his devotional service unto the Lord, it is well and good. But it so happens sometimes that one surrenders himself unto the service of the Lord by some temporary sentiment, and in the long run, due to so many other reasons, he falls down from the path of service by undesirable association. There are so many instances of this in the histories. Bharat Maharaj was obliged to take his birth as a stag due to his intimate attachment to a stag. He thought of this stag when he died. As such, in the next birth, he became a stag, although he did not forget the incident of his previous birth. Similarly, Chitraketu also fell down due to his offenses at the feet of Shiva. But in spite of all this, the stress is given here to surrendering unto the lotus feet of the Lord, even if there is a chance of falling down, because even though one falls down from the prescribed duties of devotional service, he will never forget the lotus feet of the Lord. Once engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, one will continue with the service in all circumstances. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that even a small quantity of devotional service can save one from the most dangerous position. There are many instances of such examples in history. Ajamil is one of them. Ajamil in his early life was a devotee, but in his youth he fell down. Still, he was saved by the Lord at the end.
Hari, I think in Ishkom we have plenty of these experiences. I think we can fill up the Bhagavatam with these stories. This is Narada Muni talking to Vyasadeva, and the previous verse was saying how, due to material attachment, to be attached to material. What I like about I tell you about this verse, but what I like about this verse, we talked a little bit yesterday with the Nakula. Therefore, those who are not well situated due to material attachments should be shown the way of transcendental realization. So these two verses are very good because one it says, okay, they're attached, they don't know, they're in darkness, but they should be shown the way. Again, the Vatan, if you look from the first day we've been reading it, we notice there is this kindness to try to help. There is no place in here that we need to manipulate them, control them, or whatever. We need to show them the way. They are attached to material things. They cannot see the truth, but they can be shown, So there's kindness. And then here it says, even if you may be doing service due to sentiment. So maybe, Maya is stronger and you fall down. Okay, don't worry about it. You're going to continue. Once you start, you're never going to stop. This is a good relief for all of us because at least we can say we started, At least we're in the little process of starting, by the mercy of others who show us the way. So both of these verses are very relevant and and it doesn't matter where you are at, what level you are, the possibility of falling down is always there. We have here great saints, great advanced devotees, renouncers, or whatever, and the two examples in here, they both fall down, but that doesn't mean they even remember the previous life and they were from where they started on, So that's the thing. And this is not just Prabhupada saying that, this is the, Narada Muni telling Vyasadeva, this is, again, in the mood of compassion. So if you read the Bhagavatam with the intended intention, it changes the way we see the Bhagavatam, at least for me. Any ideas, any feedback?
No, I like it's very relevant. Okay, next verse. Translation. Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end, which is not attainable even by wandering from the topmost planet, Brahmaloka, down to the lowest planet, Patala. As far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries, even though we do not desire them. Every man everywhere is trying to obtain the greatest amount of sense enjoyment by various endeavors. Some men are busy engaged in trade, industry, economic development, political supremacy, etc., and some of them are engaged in fruitive work to become happy in the next life by attaining higher planets. It is said that on the moon, the inhabitants are fit for greater sense enjoyment by drinking soma rasa, and the Pitriloka is obtained by good charitable work. So there are various programs for sense enjoyment, either during this life or in the life after death. Some are trying to reach the moon or other planets by some mechanical arrangement, for they are very anxious to get into such planets without doing good work. But it is not to happen. By the law of the Supreme, different places are meant for different grades of living beings according to the work they have performed. By good work only, as prescribed in the scriptures, can one obtain birth in a good family, opulence, good education, and good bodily features. We see also that even in this life, one obtains a good education or money by good work. Similarly, in our next birth, we get such desirable positions only by good work. Otherwise, it would not so happen that two persons born in the same place at the same time are seen differently placed according to previous work. But all such material positions are impermanent. The positions in the topmost Brahmaloka and in the lowest Patala are also changeable according to our own work. The philosophically inclined person must not be tempted by such changeable positions. He should try to get into the permanent life of bliss and knowledge, where he will not be forced to come back again to the miserable material world, either in this or that planet. Miseries and mixed happiness are two features of material life, and they are obtained in Brahmaloka and in other lokas also. They are obtained in the life of the demigods and also in the life of the dogs and hogs. The miseries and mixed happiness of all living beings are only of different degree and quality, but no one is free from the miseries of birth, death, old age, and disease. Similarly, everyone has his destined happiness also. No one can get more or less of these things simply by personal endeavors. Even if they are obtained, they can be lost again. One should not, therefore, waste time with these flimsy things. One should only endeavor to go back to Godhead. That should be the mission of everyone's life.
I did a research on this topic of enjoyment in the Bhagavatam, and I read everything was said about it, and then I made my, like, I did a lecture I did in Australia, and basically the conclusion is that the Prabhupada said, like here, that we come with our quota for happiness or distress. We come with our quota, and some people come with a high quota of happiness from previous life. Like you can fly first class anywhere you go, and so Prabhupada is not saying you should not enjoy first class if you have the ability to fly first class everywhere, because that's your quota that came with it. It is not the problem is when we effort more than necessary to enjoy. So it's not that you cannot enjoy material life because maybe that's your previous, work, whatever. But the problem is sometimes we endeavor too much. For example, if I want to first class and I had to work 365 days, 8 hours a day, so I can fly one time first class, that's too much endeavor, so that, if you want the first part class and maybe do good activities in this life and next life, we can fly first class without much struggle. And also because you're wasting your human life by doing things that will be temporary, ultimately they're going to stop. If you think of all these people from the past, like even I was reading just about mathematicians, historians, and they were very puffed up, and they were like, there was one named Fisher, and then you say, yeah, now they are a piece of paper on a book, and people can read about it, but they don't have, they're not there anymore. So how proud can we be for how long? Today is also interesting, is one of my aunts just passed away, and she was 101 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I have other aunts who were 105 years old. And
Wow.
one of my family members said, well, they're all together there on the Davos planet, And here it mentions the Pretty Loka, which is the planets of the forefathers, that you can go to those planets. If you're very attached to your family, you can go there, but then again, you are like, it's not that you cannot get to a place where you can reunite with all your parents, because for some reason your parents, but you get stuck in there. And then you cannot further advance to higher levels, So, aim high and you get high. If you aim low, you will end up going low, And people don't have this understanding of and I don't have it either, but I'm learning, the experience of the spiritual world, of full of relationships and excitement and love and whatever we experience. Imagine we fell in love with one person. What happened? We lost our minds. Right? Whenever that Cupido hurts, we lost our minds. Imagine thousands of Cupidos by Krishna's presence, How will it be the experience of that, And yet we don't aim for that, we don't have it so aware of it. But well, we are reading, and it says here, due to sentiments, you fall down. But philosophy and, this deeper understanding can help us understand the process and where we want to go. Any ideas on this? Can you?
No?
All right. One
Next.
more?
Yeah, one more. My dear Vyas, even though a devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes falls down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others, fruitive workers, etc., because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again. Purport. A devotee of the Lord automatically becomes uninterested in the enchantment of material existence because he is rasa graha, or one who has tasted the sweetness of the lotus feet of the Lord. There are certainly many instances where devotees of the Lord have fallen down due to uncongenial association, just like fruitive workers who are always prone to degradation. But even though he falls down, a devotee is never considered the same as a fallen karmi. A karmi suffers the results of his own fruitive actions, whereas a devotee is reformed by chastisement directed by the Lord himself. The sufferings of an orphan and the sufferings of a beloved child of a king are not one and the same. An orphan is really poor because he has no one to take care of him, but a beloved son of a rich man, although he appears to be on the same level as the orphan, is always under the vigilance of his capable father. A devotee of the Lord, due to wrong associations, sometimes imitates the fruitive workers. The fruitive workers want to lord it over the material world. Similarly, a neophyte devotee foolishly thinks of accumulating some material power in exchange for devotional service. Such foolish devotees are sometimes put into difficulty by the Lord himself. As a special favor, he may remove all material paraphernalia. By such action, the bewildered devotee is forsaken by all friends and relatives, and so he comes to his senses again by the mercy of the Lord and is set right to execute his devotional service. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that such fallen devotees are given a chance to take birth in a family of highly qualified Brahmins or in a rich mercantile family. A devotee in such a position is not as fortunate as one who is chastised by the Lord and put into a position seemingly of helplessness. The devotee who becomes helpless by the will of the Lord is more fortunate than those who are born in good families. The fallen devotees born in a good family may forget the lotus feet of the Lord because they are less fortunate. But the devotee who is put into a forlorn condition is more fortunate because he swiftly returns to the lotus feet of the Lord, thinking himself helpless all around. Pure devotional service is so spiritually relishable that a devotee becomes automatically uninterested in material enjoyment. That is the sign of perfection in progressive devotional service. A pure devotee continuously remembers the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna and does not forget him even for a moment, not even in exchange for all the opulence of the three worlds.
Yeah, that's so hard to, this last sentence I was thinking, so hard to envision. We compare everything with our eyes, like if we see, it was a story a devotee once told me that he prints books. He works for a place that print books, and one day he was saying the books were tilted, the words were tilted, something in the print was not right, he was really upset that, they were printing things in the wrong way, and then he would ask the people around and say, no, and then he realized the problem he had was an eye problem, that he was seeing wrong himself, And so if you measure everything by your eyes and the limitations of your eyes, you don't have the capability to judge something, So I'm thinking of Prabhupada with this opulence and Rolex and, whatever the people, for the material view says, look, all the material things. But literally, if you have Krishna and you hear the flute of Krishna, if you understand the intensity of having thousands of copies in your heart all the time, what a Rolex will do, what a Rolex will what will it make a difference in your life? You know, it's just a material thing, completely deprived of value. But from our side, because that's so valuable, that's the most valuable we have. We think, oh my God, you know, how can it be so valuable? It's just because our eyes are sick and we don't have a way to compare that. So I think the best is to, whenever we think something doesn't make a lot of sense, think about 1,000 of cupids in your heart. Well, we can think about one cupid, maybe one time in this life experience, but it's still even that is intense. So you can imagine thousands of them. And I like the idea of the difference of the orphan suffering versus the one who was a father suffering, no? In both cases, both are suffering, but one of them knows, is aware that, you know, many times you see even in movies, the kids, you know, they get reprimanded for something. And I saw a movie, the girl was really attached to the Instagram and pictures, so the mother sent her to the grandpa. And then at the end, she realized that, you know, the mother was right, and appreciative of the curse of taking her the phone, you know. And so sometimes Krishna take us away something, and then it's for our good, but we are so attached to that thing, you know, that we don't realize it. But then at the end, we realize what happened, and we always go back and thank Krishna. Thank you, Krishna. That was so needed for me. I didn't notice that until you pass the storm, you know. So it's very nice. It's very encouraging that we started. We're not going to, and Krishna's always with us. And also we have a taste. And therefore we, after years and years and years of going through all this roller coaster of a spiritual life, you know, going high and going down and going up and down and whatever, we continue. Doesn't matter if we fall and smash our face against the ground, there is something there that make us continue, because, you know, we have taste. And the taste, nobody can take it away, and nobody has to convince about this. It's not somebody else telling us you need to do this, you know. It's our own taste that we keep going. So that's the mercy of Krishna. Also, they have given us some kind of taste at some point, even if it's small, that will keep us going. So that's the mercy of him. Anything else from you here? No?
Nice to be back.
Again?
Nice to be back.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to hear you. How are you? Do you want to read one more, or we done for today? Whatever. For me, it's the same.
I have to go to a thing this morning, so I'm gonna go
The
shower.
other one is long also. So
Okay.
we leave it here tomorrow.
Okay.
Happy to be with you. So happy to hear you read. It's very nice when you read. I hear better when you read it, when I read. So
Oh yeah?
yeah, because when I read, I'm too conscientious of pronouncing the words right, and you know,
Oh,
and so I don't get the whole picture. But when you read, it's like it all enters in my ear. So very nice.
okay, good. Okay.
Thank you, Haribol. Have a wonderful day. See you
You
tomorrow.
too.
Haribol.
Bye.